So, good afternoon, I'm back again, and today we're going to talk about what's going on at Arsenal Football Club, and I've got the perfect guy to call me chat, and his name is Richard, and over again. Richard, good afternoon, mate.
Yeah, good afternoon. Happy birthday, John, as well. I hope you've having a great day.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that, man. It's just, it's been a quiet day for us today, and I can't be bothered to go out today because, you know, I was trying to get a PS5 and it's just got nothing at all whatsoever, sort of thing. But I'm bothered today, so I'm going to have a quiet one today.
Good. As long as you enjoy yourself, that's the main thing.
Thank you very much indeed. And guys, if you haven't seen my channel before, could you please stick a like on the video? Could you please subscribe to my channel and also Richard's as well over and over again? And I've got 793 subscribers. The latest one I've noticed is Man U fans just subscribed to us, and bless her. So we're going to talk about the crisis at Arsenal, what's going on at Arsenal Football Club, and 3 games in. And is it 3 games? 3 games. Conceding 9 goals, 0 points, rock bottom of the Premier League. And Richard, tell them the issue, what's going on, man. I mean, it doesn't look good at the moment. I mean, it is a mess.
It is a total mess, and it's not just, you know, the results. You could look at it and say, well, Chelsea and Man City, the 2 Champions League finalists, you know, we've had to play them back to back. Brentford in the first game, their first game in the Premier League on a Friday night. 3 difficult games. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But it's not so much necessarily just the 3 defeats. I mean, you know, you look at, say, for example, Wolves, they've lost their 3 games, but they've actually played good football, and they've maybe got some positives they can take out of them 3 games. We've got no positives to take out of these 3 games whatsoever. There's nothing to suggest that we're going to improve or we're about to turn a corner. Saturday's game against Man City was one of the worst Arsenal performances I think I've ever seen, ever in my whole lifetime, just because of the lack of fight that they seem to have. As soon as we conceded that early goal, their heads went down, and they showed a complete lack of desire and to get back into the game. And to me, that's coming from the manager, because the players are, or a lot of the players are good players. You know, we've got some decent players in that squad, some good young players as well. And for them to just basically down tools in the way that they did in that game on Saturday, long before the sending off, we'd already given up in that game. And, you know, that's not really acceptable. Chelsea beat us without having to get out of second gear the week before. Man City barely got out of first gear and beat us 5-0. You know, and that's a worrying sign, because, yes, we're not on the same level as Chelsea and Man City, but we should, as Arsenal, be able to at least give them a game for 90 minutes, even if we lose. You can take losing if you feel the team have tried everything they could do, they've given everything, and were maybe just beaten by a better team. But both of those 2 teams didn't even have to try to beat us. It was just so easy for them. It was like training sessions almost. And there's no excuse for that. And there's massive problems at the club from the manager, from the players, you know, the director of football, all the way up to the owners. Everything is wrong. And it's been a steady decline, or it was a steady decline for a long while. And now it's just rapidly caught up with us. Maybe all these bad decisions that we've made over the past sort of 10 years or so, suddenly it's all come crashing down in one go. And I mean, someone put a video on yesterday. Actually, it was a year ago yesterday since we won the Community Shield. We beat Liverpool on penalties, and we just won the FA Cup. We played really well in that game against Liverpool. We won the Community Shield, and it's like that was just a year ago, and that feels like about 5 years ago. How much we've declined in that year. I mean, it's not even that long, is it? And the decline has been so rapid, it's been ridiculous. And things have got to change quickly, you know. But as you said, bottom of the league, no points, no goals. I mean, that's unheard of. Never, ever in Arsenal's history have we lost our first 3 games without scoring. It's just ridiculous.
He's breaking records for the wrong reasons. So for you had 4 home straight. I mean, so like 1958, and then saving back in the 70s as well. He's breaking all wanted records, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? We had Steve Bruce on that, breaking on rotten records, actually still on second. But Arsenal fans are absolutely frustrating, sort of thing as well. But that doesn't look good. I look at your formation on Saturday. You had the 3 centre backs, right? Chambers, right, was going to go on loan. I could be wrong. Rob Holding's going to come on loan to Newcastle as well. Arteta says he's not going anywhere. And Kolasinac is an absolute interesting one as well. I mean, he was on his way. And yeah, he still picks him for that game. I mean, what's going on at the club? Why? What's going on, man?
I mean, that whole formation on Saturday was, when I saw the team, I'm thinking, first of all, you're thinking, how are we lining up here with the players that we had? It was just baffling. And then when you saw it, okay, you got 3 centre-backs, but Kolasinac is a left-back. He's not even a left-back, really. He's not a footballer at all. We had a left-sided centre-back on the bench in Pablo Mari. He hasn't been playing particularly well, but he's natural to that position. He would have been an obvious choice to play there. Or Kieran Tierney, who plays in that same position for Scotland as a third centre-back on the left, he could have dropped in there. We had a new signing, Nuno Tavares, could have played in the left wing-back position. So that would have improved the defence probably straight away just by changing a couple of players. I mean, Chambers and Holding are not good enough for Arsenal. If we want to progress and become better, they're not good enough. Chambers is probably a championship defender or a very low-end Premier League defender at best. Rob Holding's probably the same. You're talking about a loan to Newcastle last year, wasn't it? There was talk about that. Yeah. And maybe, from my point of view, it would have been maybe good for him if he'd gone there. He's played a lot of games for us in the last year or so, actually, because of injuries and whatever. But he's for Arsenal. If Arsenal want to progress and get back into Europe and stuff like that, he's not good enough for Arsenal. No disrespect to Newcastle, he'd probably do a great job for you guys. But for Arsenal, at this moment in time when we need to progress, he's not good enough. And then, we've got no real decent right back. We played Cedric at right wing back. He's still looking for Jack Grealish now because he never got anywhere near him in that whole game. He's just not good enough. I'm not saying Jack Grealish is a good player, and he's done that to a few players. But we're Arsenal. We should have a better team going out to a game like that. And the midfield was just a joke. I mean, Granit Xhaka was left on his own basically, and then he had 4 attacking players in front of him. He just got completely overrun, got frustrated, made a silly tackle, and got sent off. But that didn't cost us the game. We'd already lost by that point anyway. Yeah. So the formation, I didn't understand what the idea behind that was. We've played the same system, the sort of 4-2-3-1, if you like. We've played that system under Arteta for a long time now, the back end of last season, all the way through pre-season, start of this season, and suddenly, we play Man City away, and he changes it. That's the sort of thing that you change in pre-season. You work on these things. You practice it in pre-season when you've got friendlies. If it works, brilliant. You can then maybe use it later on. If it doesn't work, then you go away and work on it again. You don't just suddenly throw it in to a big game like Man City away when we've not used it before. I'm not saying they haven't maybe tried it in training, but that's what you had pre-season for. We had 3, 4, 5 friendlies in pre-season. You never used that system once. So why would you suddenly do that, throw it into a game like that when we're under pressure already because we lost the first 2 games? These are decisions that Arteta's making, and there's loads of other problems at the club. I'm not saying changing the manager is the answer to everything, but when you've got the manager making ridiculous decisions like this and the ridiculous team lineups and the results are going the way that they are, that's got to be your first port of call, hasn't it? It's got to be. And then, look at trying to improve the results on the pitch. And if, eventually the owners are going to have to sell up and go, I think. But we, as you well know, that's not an easy thing to do, is it? You just get the owners to sell up and go. They will do that when they're ready. So in the meantime, we've got to try and do the best that we can on the pitch. And that means getting a different manager who knows what he's doing. He's too inexperienced, Arteta, and he overthinks everything. He's not flexible enough. And then when he is flexible or tries to be like he was on Saturday, he's got no plan. The players didn't know what they were doing, did they? Let's face it, in that game, they were looking around thinking, what are we meant to be doing here? It was like they hadn't practiced that formation very much. They probably did it on the Friday in training. Oh, okay, yeah, that'll do. We'll go with that. And it's like, come on, you know what I mean? We can't afford to. Yeah, we wasn't expecting to get anything from that game anyway. It's Man City away, champions, great side, but you've got to at least compete with them. Every other team, I know Norwich got beaten 5-0, but they're down with us. But most other teams will go to Man City. They'll at least give them a game. They'll put up a fight, and they might still lose. But at least, and you can accept that, can't you? You can accept losing if you look as though the team look as though they know what they're doing. I mean, we're 3 weeks into the season. I've watched Match of the Day. I've watched a few other live games. I've watched Arsenal. We're bottom of the league for one reason, not to do with who we've played. We're bottom of the league because we've been the worst team. We're the worst organised. We're the worst prepared. We're playing the worst football. We're not creating any chances. And we deserve to be where we are at the bottom of the league at this moment in time. And unless things change quite quickly, I can't see how we're going to improve enough to pull away from that. Even, like I say, Wolves have lost all their games. They're playing good football. Yeah, Norwich have got 1 or 2 issues, but they gave Leicester a decent game at the weekend. They could have got a draw there, couldn't they? Goal disallowed. We're not even showing anything at all, no fight or nothing. And that's the worst. That's the most worrying thing for me.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, it's very worrying, man. It's just with what you're telling us, sort of thing. Like, I think Arsenal fans will be chat will be absolutely screeching at this moment in time. But you just said there, Wolves playing good football, Norwich are playing good football as well. They got fight in their team. We haven't got no fight at all. Our clubs have got no fight whatsoever. I got focus on here. I like Norwich to beat Arsenal, beat them after the break. But they might come back galvanised. Either way, a good test for both teams. I mean, you should be Norwich, though. You should be Norwich City, by the way. You should.
Well, we should do. But who knows at the minute? I mean, I think actually, if Arteta's still in the job at that point, which it looks as though he probably will be, because we've got the transfer window shutting tomorrow. If he's going to get rid of a manager, you don't do it as soon as the transfer window's shut there. Really, realistically, you don't there. So I would imagine he's still going to be there. And these next two games, we've got Norwich and then Burnley away the week after. And they've got to be 6 points. If we don't win both them games, he's got to go after that, because clearly, if we can't beat Norwich at home and Burnley away, then that shows exactly where we are as a club. And what that means to me is we are in a relegation fight, because they're two clubs that's going to be down there all season, aren't they? Probably. And they're the teams that if we can't beat them, what hope have we got of beating anybody better?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, the fact that it's the end of the day, they're going to be up for it as well. I mean, you struggled. You did beat Burnley last season, didn't you? You picked up 1 point. Fancy Shaka's mistake.
Yeah, we did,
and you got beat home, then you drew away, where you could have lost that game. Norwich, they're going to come down fighting. They're going to give it a real good go, but I think the defence are flaky at this moment in time. But going forward, great. But defending's just woeful in a minute. I mean, Chip has to find 4 minutes. I mean, Arsenal can always have Steve Bruce if they want.
I don't know about that. I'm not quite sure we're quite ready for that yet, actually. We've got enough problems already without worrying about.
I know. We've got Lisa. Happy to John. Thank you for fantastic insights. You're welcome any time. Thanks, Jules. Thanks so much again. But the thing is, right, I mean, I'm not being funny, right, but I mean, I'll look at that formation, right? Odegaard in midfield, right? He should be a number 10 role, but he's playing on number 8. I mean, don't get us wrong. I think Odegaard's going to be a cracking player. I really think he's going to come through. But that is sort of position, the number 8 role. It should be a 10. I mean, if Real Madrid think it was that great, right, I don't think they're selling. But 30 million, I'm not sure.
It's. I mean, to be fair, I mean, I thought he did well with us last season on loan when he played. I thought he looked a good player. You can see he's got something about him, and I agree. He should be in the number 10. That's I think his best position. But you know, we've also got Smith Rowe. Now he's got the number 10 shirt. He's been playing in the number 10 position and doing pretty well. He's been one of our better players actually. So I'm not quite sure if Arteta's trying to squeeze them both in together, it's going to mean one of them not playing in his best position. And at the moment, I don't think we can afford to do that, because, you know, you've got 11 players in the team and they've all got to be able to do the best that they can in the position that they're playing in. And if you're trying to fit people in around other players, I don't think that's going to work. I mean, Odegaard was kind of out on the right-hand side a lot of that game on Saturday, and he didn't hardly get a kick, did he? I don't remember him doing anything in that game, really. And then he got taken off. And it's like, if you're going to play a player like that, you've got to at least give them something to go off. And it's like Aubameyang, he never got a kick in that game either. And, you know, he scored a hat-trick in midweek. Yes, the opposition were poor. We'll forget about that. But he never got a kick, did he? If you've got a player like Aubameyang in your team, you know he can score goals. His goal-scoring record over the years, 300-odd goals in his career. You know he's going to score your goals. So it's no good playing him in a team and just not giving him the ball, not being in a situation where he can get the ball and be dangerous and have shots at goal. It's just a waste of time playing him. You might as well not play with a striker at all. If you're going to play, you know, if you're going to put a goal scorer on the pitch, what you've got to do is get him in the game, get him the ball, and give him the opportunity to do something. It wasn't his fault. He didn't touch the ball really, you know, and he got taken off. But you can't really blame him. He didn't show enough fight or heart or desire for me. But none of them did really. But when you've got a player on a pitch, you've got to get him the ball. You've got to put players around him that can get him the ball. You know, it's not easy against Man City at the best of times, but when you set up a formation like that, you know, we'd lost that game before we even started. Really, when you looked at the team and the line and the formation, it's like, did he go there to lose that game? I don't know what he was thinking. Did he have a bet with Pep to see who, you know, what worst team he could find to put out, worst formation? And obviously he must have lost because he come up with that. I don't know. I don't know if that was a reason.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be difficult going to the Etihad, trying to win a game like that. Not many teams does that, unfortunately, and it just seems to me that he's already defeated before the bar's even kicked with that squad. And for me, I look at that squad again, and I'm thinking he's picked a defeated squad. Do you know what I mean? But Aubameyang, I mean, I love Aubameyang. I think he's a cracking player. I agree with you, but he needs the service. But Saka and Smith Rowe's got to do more to give him that service. The crosses got to come in, the football's got to come in, and I think Aubameyang, for me, okay, he's had issues last season and he's going to try his best this season. I hope he makes it. I really do. Lacazette, I'm not sure Lacazette is fit, I don't know if he's fit.
I'm not sure. I mean, there's been a few issues at the club, isn't there, with illnesses, they're saying, and this, that, and the other. I'm not really sure what's going on behind the scenes, actually. There seems to be a lot of issues going on that maybe we don't really know about. We're given excuses, like the first game of the season when Aubameyang and Lacazette, we were told they were ill, and then a week later, actually they had COVID. Well, why not tell us that in the first place? Chelsea said Pulisic had COVID straight away. There's been other players that's off with COVID. There was a couple at the weekend, and it's like, why say that they're ill and be very shady about it, and then a week later, they had COVID. Well, just tell us that then in the first place. And there seems to be a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I don't think we know about at all. It's funny that we're doing the Amazon documentary this season. It's being filmed, isn't it? And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out in that, obviously, next year. But something's going on. Things are going on behind the scenes, and it's not a good situation to be in. Whatever's going on, it's not positive, is it? Obviously, clearly from what's going on the pitch. And I don't know whether, is it just Arteta's fault? I don't know. Has he got his hands tied behind his back to a certain degree? I'm not sure. But either way, he's the manager. He takes responsibility for the team on the pitch. And when we're performing the way that we have been, last season we were poor for most of the season. We've started this season even worse. It's got to come down to one man initially. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that's all the answers, because there's a lot more going on. But for me, the first port of call is change the manager, get a manager in who's got more experience, who can get more out of the players that we've got, and pick the right team for the right game, and work on a system and a formation that's going to help you to get a result in each game that you play, rather than just stick with the same system all the time and hope it's going to one day work. And when it does work, it's great. And if it doesn't work, which is most of the time at the minute, you've got to be able to change it, haven't you? And he's not doing that. So for me, that's the first thing that needs to change. And I agree with what Chippers has said there, actually, about Arsene Wenger. I mean, I think Arsene Wenger had reached the end of his time. He was 70-odd year old, and he'd been there 21 years. And I just feel as though he had reached the end of his time. I'd never, ever wanted Wenger out because of what he brought to the club. And I always knew replacing him was going to be difficult. But you can see how quickly it's fallen apart. 3 years since he's gone, we've got we've dropped slowly and slowly further down the table. We've become less and less competitive, and now we're out of Europe as well. This is just the decline that's happened rapidly in those 3 years. And Arsene Wenger, for all his faults at the end, he was basically, I believe, he was holding it together with all the financial issues behind the club. He was actually holding us together. He was keeping us in the top 4, top 5, getting us in Europe every season, winning the odd FA Cup here and there, which I know Arteta did, but and he was kind of keeping us going. And as soon as he's gone, it's like the whole foundations have just crumbled, and we're in this mess now. And that was maybe bad planning by the club. They didn't plan for when Wenger would go. Maybe they hadn't put a plan in place. And we've just, we've got Emery and didn't work. Maybe he should have had more time. Who knows? We've got Arteta, inexperienced manager. That hasn't worked. What's next? Another manager to come in, hopefully someone better. But there's been no plan at the club. I think similar to Man United when Fergie retired, they didn't really have a proper plan in place, and they've struggled since, haven't they? They've not won many trophies since then, have they? And I think we're both. I mean, they seem to be in a lot stronger position now than we are, but we've both gone through that kind of transition, and it's difficult. But we've completely messed it up, all the way around. I mean, Man United never got to be as bad as we are. After Fergie, did they? They dropped out of winning the title every year, but they never got as bad as things have got for us. So clearly, there's bigger issues there. But yeah, it's a worrying time. I've got to be honest. It is a really worrying time. I don't know where we're heading. Actually, I don't know what's going to happen the rest of this season. I really don't. If Arteta stays in this job, I fear that no club's too good to go down. Big clubs are out of the Premier League in the Championship already, aren't they? Clubs that's won the European trophies and stuff like that are in the Championship, can't get out. You know, you guys have been in the Championship a couple of times in recent years as well. No one's too good to go down. And if we stay as we are, if we keep this situation at the club as it is all the way through the season, and if we don't bring any new players in before tomorrow, we could get relegated. I think we have to face the fact we could. I'm not saying we will. I think we've still got good enough players to keep us up, but we'll have to start thinking that we're going to be in a battle this season if things haven't changed. Because look at where we are. You know, look at the players that we've got. Look at the way we're playing. You know, no goals. I think we've only had 14 shots on target in 14 shots in the 3 games. You know, Wolves haven't scored. They've had 53 shots. So you could think to yourself, Wolves are going to score sooner or later. We've had 14 shots in 3 games. We're not going to score having that few shots, are we? Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, I totally agree there. So if I was just going to come on to that about Wolves having more shots than you sort of thing. I mean, I heard that Jamie O'Hara today on TalkSport come on and see it. But if Arsenal gets relegated, right, that guy's a complete and utter not, by the way. I'm sorry, he really is. But he said Arsenal struggle in the Championship with this team. That's his words.
Well, I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about from Arsenal's point of view to be relegated. I mean, we've never, you know, we haven't been relegated since 1913, and obviously football's totally different now. And I mean, it doesn't. Honestly, I can't even get my head around it. I mean, in my whole lifetime watching Arsenal, we've never finished lower than 12th in the table. You know, we've never been in a relegation battle at all. It's not something that Arsenal do. So, you know, I wouldn't know how to deal with it, actually. You know, if we get to Christmas and we're still in the bottom 3 or 4, I mean, I don't know I wouldn't know how to deal with that. You know, going into the second half of the season in a battle like that, I honestly don't know how to cope with that, really, because it's not something I've ever experienced before. And it's just a strange situation, because I look at Arsenal, you look at some of the players that we've got, good young players, obviously Saka, fantastic young player, Smith Rowe, you know, we've bought a couple of other good young players. Ben White potentially could be a good player. Lokonga looked decent. And you look at and you think, well, okay, we've got the basis of a half-decent team there. We've got too many players that shouldn't be at the club. But ultimately, we've got a team good enough. Are we good enough to be top 6, top 4? No, probably not. But we're certainly good enough to be in the top half of the table, surely, with the players that we've got. And that's surely down to the manager, isn't it? Not being able to get the team playing together as a team, which seems to be what's been happening. And it's not 3 games, but it's you know, you're overreacting after 3 games. It's not 3 games. He's been at the club 18 months, Arteta, and there's been no improvement. We finished 8th twice this season. We'll be lucky to finish 8th at this rate. I'll be happy with finishing 8th at the moment. So, you know, it's not just 2-3 games. It's 18 months worth of poor negative football, no idea with tactics, too inflexible, not being able to change things, and picking the wrong players in the wrong positions after time as well, as we saw on Saturday. Typical example of that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we get Newcastle fans. I'll get Newcastle fans come to us and say, stop being negative, John. It's only 3 games gone. I'll just keep on saying to them, it's not just the 3 games on the boost. Yeah. It's last season as well. And people tend to forget that. I'm getting people call up to us as well and say, John, just chill. It's only pre-season. It's only pre-season, right? And I keep telling people, you cannot bring pre-season form into the new season. Otherwise, with poor start, if you start poorly, that's what happens. You know what I mean? And I get people apologising to us on the DMs as well. And I just say to them, I don't want any apologies.
Pre-season is all about preparing yourself for the season, isn't it? It's, you know, the results don't necessarily matter but the way that the team are playing and the ideas that are being put across. And if you have a poor pre-season, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have a great start to the season, are you, when it starts? Because you're going into it in a poor sort of state of mind, maybe. And Arsenal have had that this season. Newcastle have had it every single season. I can remember Newcastle always start slowly, and that comes from the preparation. For me, I know sometimes you get injuries and stuff, but you know, the teams that go into pre-season, they're well prepared. They start the season well. Brentford, for example, you know, they've come in really prepared. They've started the season well. You know, Tottenham as well, under a new manager. He's got them well organised and they've started well. And, you know, it comes from that, doesn't it? You know, at the end of the day, you know, pre-season doesn't matter in terms of results, but it certainly matters in terms of how the team are gelling together and the ideas that they're trying and the players that they're trying. If you're trying things, try them in pre-season. If they don't work, you know, they don't work. But that's what it's for. Pre-season is so important, and I don't like it. I agree with you. I don't like it. People just write off pre-season doesn't matter. Well, of course it matters. Otherwise, you wouldn't have one. You wouldn't have friendlies if it didn't matter. It's massively important about fitness. It's about organisation as a team. It's getting new players integrated into the team and everything, isn't it? Pre-season is really important. I know, Newcastle haven't bought a lot of new players, and the one you did get off us, he joined just before the season started, didn't he? So he didn't get a pre-season with you guys anyway. He played a few friendlies for us. But yeah, I mean, it's important pre-season every single year. It's really important, and unfortunately, as I said, if you don't approach that properly, you're going to find when the season starts, you're going to have trouble. And we're both in this. I mean, you've got more points than us actually. So I don't know what you're moaning about.
I mean, 1 point.
Well, yeah, it's more than we've got. It's one more than we've got.
I know. Yeah, I mean, we're going to be bottom by September. I've said that to people. I've said to other people, we're going to be bottom by September. Look at the fixtures they've got coming up, and they'll prove the point. I've got Lacey Sunday again. Arsenal defence has improved under Arteta during the beginning of his reign, but everything has gone backwards. I don't think he's improved the defence.
I mean, I think if you look at our defensive record last season, I think we were the third best defence in the league, apparently. But mainly that's not necessarily to do with the players, because we've still got the same defenders in the team. It's more to do with the fact that Arteta he's not prepared to take risks in a game. So he's quite happy to lose 1-0 by just sitting back at 1-0 down, rather than taking the risk of maybe losing 2-0 or 3-0 on a counter-attack. And that's why our defensive record looked on paper to be better. This season, that's been blown away. 9 goals in 3 games we've shipped. So that's not, that's the worst in the league, isn't it, at the moment? And I'm sure it's going to be improved as the season goes along. I'm sure it will. But yeah, it's a problem. I sometimes don't just look at the statistics, because they don't tell you the full picture, do they, really? Nah. And they don't. And unfortunately, sometimes it's easy to look at certain statistics about Arsenal under Arteta and think, well, he's improved this, he's improved that. Well, he hasn't. In 18 months, he hasn't improved anything, because we're playing terrible football. We're not creating enough chances to win enough games. We are conceding stupid goals, making stupid mistakes every single game. It's different players making the same sort of mistakes. That's got to come to the coach, not the players, because it's different players making them. Look at the goal that the first goal Man City scored. Gundogan, who's about 5'8", got a free header from 3 or 4 yards. And that happened against Man City last season. It was different defenders that we had in the team making the same mistakes. That must come down to the organisation before the game. That must come down to what they're being told in training, or what they're not being told in training. They're not being, they're not being improved, because players are coming in and they're making the same mistakes that the player they replaced made, in the games before. And it's just, I don't know any other team that keeps doing that. You bring another player and you'd expect the other player to actually think, well, they're going to be better, or they're going to do something different, because all players are different, aren't they? They've all got different strengths and weaknesses. And you'd imagine that a player comes in, they're going to do something different, whether it's better or worse, but yet they're making exactly the same mistakes as everybody else. And it's like, well, that's how does that work? I don't understand how that works. We're the only club that seems to happen with. And I don't get it. It must come down to the coaching. It's got to. It's got to come down to
the coaching. If it's down to the coaching, they've got to do it as tour. If they don't do it, you get dropped. But obviously, it's just not been working at all. And we had that in Newcastle. Look at our defence. Every time Southampton had the ball on Saturday, we just stood off them every single time. One of our players not going and be brave and have to tackle, get a snap into them, tackle. He don't do that, just stand off them. One day, our back five is going to tread on Freddie Woodman's toes if this carries on. Do you know what I mean? We are poor. I'll get rid of all the back five. I'll get rid of a lot of them. Honestly, I would. And I've got my Australian mate, so I think Arteta needs to manage a smaller championship side before tackling the club like
exactly. I'd agree with that. 100% agree with that.
So anyone else loving how the high and mighty Guinness are falling? That's
no.
Yeah. Shivers, Arteta could be another McLaren, could be a top coach, but as a manager, it might be too much for him. I think it probably be a number 2, but I just do not think, for me, he's good enough to win number 1 just yet. The guy's 30 years and he's got plenty of time on his side. I mean, should have stuck out for another couple more seasons with Pep. But what he's doing is just putting our cones out for Pep. That's all he's doing.
I mean, I kind of agree with that earlier comment. Maybe he would have been better off learning management at a smaller club with less expectations rather than coming into Arsenal that had a lot of problems at the time and expect him to come in and put them right. Yeah, he maybe needed to go. Maybe it was the right time for him to leave being a coach and going into management. Just he needed to do it at maybe less pressured club. Look at Frank Lampard went to Derby, didn't he? Did a job there. Wayne Rooney's gone to Derby, learning the job, at those sort of clubs. And maybe that's what Arteta should have done. And in 2 or 3 years' time, he may well have proved himself and then get the opportunity at a club like Arsenal. But you shouldn't just be able to walk into a job like that when you've never managed a club before. That's crazy. Like, it's never. I don't remember a big club or a so-called big club doing something like that. Usually you get an experienced manager, don't you? Everybody does. And you moan about Steve Bruce. Yeah, I understand why, but he is an experienced manager. He should know what he's doing. There's no excuses in that side, is he? He's been a manager in the top division in England for a long time, hasn't he? 20 odd years or whatever he's been a manager for. Yeah. He obviously played at the top level for Man United for years before that. So, I don't know. I just think it was a bad appointment for Arsenal to have made, and I don't think it's done Arteta any favours either. Because who's going to take him now if he gets sacked at Arsenal? Which decent club's going to? He'll end up back in the Championship anyway, or abroad somewhere, won't he? France or somewhere, Spain. That's where he'll end up. Because no one in England's going to touch him. No Premier League club will touch him, will they? After what he's done at Arsenal, absolutely no chance.
No chance, not at all. They know that sort of thing, and they're going to be thinking, "I can't take a chance on this guy. I just can't." Sort of thing. Championship club, maybe, or he may have to go back with Pep, sort of thing, a couple more years and learn off the master yet again, sort of thing. But
maybe.
Back, I'm not sure. Maybe it's not because he's already got an assistant manager. I don't know his name, but he's already got an assistant manager there, sort of thing. But Andrew here, it's not Arteta. He's got experience. He worked under probably the best coach in the world. Pep, we spoke about that. They spend 300 million on players. It's the players' attitude. They don't want to play for him.
I mean, I kind of agree. Yeah, it seems as though the players don't want to play for him. And if they don't, then obviously that's down to the manager as well, isn't it? Why don't they want to play for him? What's he making it in training or whatever it is to make them not want to play for him? If that's the reason, I don't know. But I'd say he hasn't got experience because he's never been a manager before. He's got experience of maybe doing training sessions, and he's got experience of being an assistant, and he's got assistant, and having help. But to actually be up front on his own, he's not got no experience of that before. And I think now that's becoming obvious with the decisions that he's making. And it made me laugh on Saturday because I saw there was a clip on the telly where there's about 10 different members of staff in the dugout with Arteta, right? Now, you've got coaches, you've got assistant, whatever it is, you've got physiotherapists, you've probably got sports scientists, you've got masseurs, you've got all these types of people, right? Which is costing the club money on wages and all kinds of other stuff, right? And what are they doing? Why do you need that? I can remember, and I know football's different now, but you used to have a manager, you had an assistant and a physio, that was it. You had 3 people on the bench and your sub, right? That was it. Now you've got a bench, you've got literally like 50 people on the bench. What are they doing? Why do you need that many people? You don't, do you? On a match day, what are they doing on a match? If you've got a sports scientist, he'd be doing some work behind the scenes. He doesn't need to be on a match day on the bench, does he? Or has he got literally 6, 7, 8, 9 coaches? And if he has, what are they doing? Because they're not coaching the players very well. So what are they doing? It's just, for me, I would actually sack a lot of them. I would sack a lot of them and start again because they're clearly we're wasting our money on them because they're not doing it. They're not doing the job they're meant to be doing, are they? Loads of them. There was literally hundreds of them. I think, what are you all doing? Sitting there on the bench with your nice Arsenal red tracksuit on, which looks very smart. But what are you actually doing? Because you don't look as though you're doing anything to help the team or help the manager because he's sitting there without a clue what he's doing, and you've got all them people behind him sitting there doing nothing. It's like, well, somebody take charge, somebody take control of this and actually, grab the players at half time round the neck and say, this is Arsenal. This isn't acceptable. But no one's doing that. It's just like, okay, go out the second half and just, stroll about for a bit. The fans will be all right. They'll just clap you at the end. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? We need Tony Adams or someone in that changing room to actually have them up against the wall and understand what it means to play for Arsenal and Arteta, what it means to be a manager of Arsenal. It isn't like some sort of experiment where you can mess around and, try these different formations that you might think are great on a whiteboard on the wall, but not going to work on the pitch. We're not an experiment. You know what I mean? If you want to do that, go back to Pep. You know what I mean? Go back to him and be an experiment with him. Don't come to Arsenal and do it because that's not what we are. But somebody needs to make that obvious and clear because the players I don't think half the players don't understand it. 1 or 2 maybe get it. I think the young guys who's come through our system probably get what it means to play for Arsenal. The rest of them don't. you can quite clearly tell on Saturday they're strolling around, so they don't care. That's not acceptable. And that comes back, it comes back to the man. That comes back to the manager. And if the manager isn't instilling it in them, if you can't get your players fired up to go out there and play a game at Man City at the Etihad Stadium, against the Premier League champions, if you can't get your team up to play for that a game like that, then you don't deserve the job, quite honestly. And it's not just one game that's happened in. It's happened in lots and lots and lots of games, like loads of games that over the last 18 months that's happened. We've not been up for it at all. And, as soon as we go a goal down within the first 10 minutes, the game's over because we're not going to come back. We just don't. We don't come back. We don't come back from being behind under Arteta. It very rarely happens because he doesn't know how to motivate a team, clearly.
Facts. Absolute facts. I mean, and I was just going to say, to me, what you're saying, they're cheating on the fans. The fans woke up, 5 in the morning to go to the Etihad, 4-hour drive for the Etihad, spend a hard-earned cash watching that, and a performance like that. Let's put it this way. The fans woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Your players woke up in the second half. Simple as that. And I think that's cheating. Cheating the fans. It's like Newcastle fans playing Brighton at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Then we got 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, on a net performance like that. It is a disgrace. And I'm sorry, but the fans that travel to the Etihad should get their money back for a performance like that. I'm sorry, but Howe, man, it's a joke.
Yeah, no, you're right. They get paid a lot of money as well. Let's not forget. They're well paid, these players, and their job is, I know it's not just about the game on the weekend, but that's the major part of their job. And if they're not going to be prepared to put the effort in when that's what they've got to do, that's what they build up for all week, is to play in the game on a Saturday. If they can't be bothered to put the effort in for all that money that they're getting as well, it is a joke. You're right. It's cheating, and it needs to change. The whole culture of Arsenal, and maybe Newcastle as well, it needs to change. Yeah. And if it doesn't change, then there's going to be trouble ahead because other clubs are doing that. You look at the players of other clubs; they're up for the games. They're well up for it. You look at Burnley against Leeds yesterday; they were up for that game. You know what I mean? We played them in a couple of weeks' time. They're going to be up for it against us. If we're not up for that game, we'll get beaten again because that's what happens.
Totally agree. And they better be up for it as well when you're bottom of the table. You got to fight after passion. If you haven't got a fight or passion, then you should be at that club total whatsoever. I got Russ here as well. Arsenal's in the Maya. He's an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I got Simon Deuce Sky to me channel. Simon, if you get the chance. I hope not. I'm looking forward to playing Arsenal away. Huddersfield fan as well. So obviously you want to get
probably be next season, mate. Yeah, don't worry about that. We'll be playing next season. I enjoy going to Huddersfield. It's a good away day, actually. So I wouldn't mind playing you, but obviously not in the Championship, ideally. But anyway.
Yeah, hopefully in the Premier League one. So Huddersfield gets back in the Prem. They were fresh breath there. Fresh breath there winning the Premier under David Wagner, sort of in the first season, kept them up as well. And it's just amazing, right? He goes, put it this way, and this is a question for you. Just put it this way: who's out there to replace Arteta to get them into the top 4? It's the player's attitude for him.
I don't think we can realistically at the moment get in the top 4. I don't think we've got good enough players, and we haven't got, unless we're going to spend a lot of money to get better players in, I don't think we can realistically get in the top 4. We should be doing a lot better than we are with the players that we've got. And, you're saying who could come in and do that. I think there's plenty of managers that would love the opportunity to come into Arsenal and turn this around. We've got the basis of a decent side. We've got some good players. And if a experienced manager who can get more out of them. Look what Tuchel has done at Chelsea. When he took over, Chelsea were mid-table, going nowhere under Lampard. They were letting in goals, and he got them into the top 4, got them to win the Champions League, got to the FA Cup final, and now they're going to be probably one of the favourites to win the Premier League this season as well, aren't they? And he's done all that with signing one player, which was Lukaku, because he came in after the transfer window, didn't he? So he's only bought one player at the moment. I know there's a couple more they might buy before tomorrow, but at the moment, that's all he's done, and he's won the Champions League with the same players that were underperforming massively under Lampard. So it goes to show there's managers out there that, Arsenal's still a big club, still a big name in world football. We can attract a good manager, and if a good manager comes in with the players that we've got, we would improve straight away because they would organise them better. The players would be more up for it. You get a new manager kind of thing, don't you? You always get better results initially, and then you can maybe build on that. And I'm sure we would do a lot better. Who that would be? There's a lot of potential people out there that we could probably get if we try. Obviously, Conte's been the main one that's been mentioned, and he would be great, obviously. But would he want more money than we've got? I'm not sure. We'd have to see. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
See what happens. I totally agree. I've got Andy as well. He's a great guy, sort of thing. Everyone loves him. Do you know what I mean? And he's also he's a great lad. He wants to know what players do Arsenal need before tomorrow. Probably about 5 or 6.
To be honest with you, I thought this a few weeks ago that I actually, in a way, don't want the club to spend any more money with this manager, because I don't think that we could get another 6 or 7 players in tomorrow, and I still don't think we would improve with this manager, because he wouldn't. We bought a load of players since he's been there, and we've not improved. So I've lost trust in. If it was my money, I wouldn't give any more of my money to Arteta to spend. I'd get rid of him first, get another manager in. There's no time to do that now, obviously, for this window. That's what I would have done back in the summer. But now it's almost pointless Arsenal spending money on new players now. I think a few are going to leave probably in the next couple of days, some on loan and stuff like that, which is probably needed. We don't need a squad of 30 players without Europe, do we? So get rid of a few that are clogging up the wage bill as well. But if we buy players, we buy players. I mean, obviously, we could do with a striker, we could do with a right back, we could do with another centre back, because we're struggling there at the minute. We could do with a midfield player, a sort of defensive midfield player, but we're not going to buy all them players. And even if we do, you can guarantee that with Arteta as manager, it's not going to really improve us. That's where we need to improve, is get rid of him, get a new manager in. I'd rather spend money on a new manager, paying Arteta off, getting a new manager in. That's what I'd rather spend the money on than 3 or 4 new players under this current manager, personally. But I don't think that's going to happen now. It's too late, isn't it? I think we're going to be stuck with him until Christmas at least.
Yeah, which don't think it please also fans as well, sort of thing. I think most of them gone anyway. But I got to Andrew here, the quietest I've ever seen John. He's always quiet. I mean,
no, you're never quiet.
Your channel as well, sort of thing. So sometimes you sort of thing like, I'm just presenting. You just need to get out of you, sort of thing. But thanks for that, Miss. I'm Bruce, get the F out of our club couch sheet. Simon again, down with the Leeds, Norwich. Leeds are never going down. No way. And then Chitlaz, the thing is, if I had to take us to boot, who would want to go to manage Arsenal? Maybe the jaw was there when Wenger left, but now the jaw is there for an unemployment manager. I mean, you got Eddie Howe, you got Sam Allardyce, you got Antonio Conte, sort of thing. But
yeah, I mean, there's managers out there, whether they're currently not in a job or some that maybe could be tempted. Again, you have to pay money for them, don't you, and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, Big Sam's would be a strange one, wouldn't it? You can never imagine Big Sam being manager of Arsenal, could you? But who knows?
Yeah, we'll see what happens on that one, sort of thing. But I've got Smith Rowe. He's played for Huddersfield, by the way. He's out on loan there.
Yeah, he did okay.
Yeah. That's in Simon.
Yeah, very good player, yeah.
And this is the thing. I think it's a good point what Mariotti guy is trying to say. He goes, Saka's good to a point where they rely on the young bloke. I've felt at times to get them out of trouble. I've noticed as well that they're trying to, the young lads like Smith and Saka, they're relying on the kids to get them out of trouble. But there's the older players, like Aubameyang, like Lacazette, and the back also as well. That SmithShaka as well, they're just not taking responsibility. They're allowing the young kids to take the responsibility. That is wrong. And the senior side has got to wear up now, taking the scruff in the neck, not getting sent off on a regular basis, such as Shaka, right? And then just get them there, man.
No, I mean, you're right. And my worry is that if that doesn't start happening, then these young players who are at the moment have got great potential, as we've seen, are going to not be able to develop in the right positive way, are they? Because they've not got that leadership around them to help them develop. That's what they need. And they haven't got it. And you're right. You can't rely on these young players week in, week out to dig you out of trouble. They did it last season. Saka and Smith Rowe, the pair of them, Erdegaard when he came in as well, they helped turn it around. And we can't keep relying on them to do it, because it's not going to help their development, is it? That's the problem that worries me. And then they're going to maybe not become the players that we hope they can be. I mean, it's very rare, isn't it, that young players really develop and push on their career in a struggling team. All the best young players that have come through maybe at Man United when they were winning trophies. Back in the day at Arsenal when we were winning trophies. That's where the players come through generally, don't they? You don't get many in struggling teams that go on and have great careers, do you? And that's my worry for our young players, because they've got the potential to be fantastic, great players for years to come. But are they going to be able to develop in this current setup at Arsenal? I'm not sure they will. And in the end, Man City will end up coming in with big, massive bids for Smith Rowe and Saka, won't they? Or Chelsea will, or somebody will in the next couple of years, because we won't have the background or the ability to push their careers on, because they're not going to want to stay at Arsenal if we're mid-table, not in Europe every year, are they? You know, when they get to 23, 24, 25, peak of their career, look at Grealish. You know, he stayed at Aston Villa for a long time, but he got to the point where it's like, no, I want more for my career. If I want to play for England regular, I need to be playing for a team winning trophies and challenging. And he's gone, and our young players will go the same way unless things change quickly at Arsenal. That's what worries me. But we'll see what happens. I mean, who knows? But that's my fear. When you're putting that responsibility on those young players, it's not going to help them long term, I don't think.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think also to accept the bids anyway. So I think there can be a selling club as well. I mean, they could have sold Smith Rowe to Villa, but he didn't want to go there. Yeah, but listen, you're quite lucky to hang on to him as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're saying that now, but if in 2 years' time, if Man City or Liverpool or Chelsea or Man United come in for Smith Rowe, do you think he's going to turn them down then? If we're still in the same state in 2 years' time, of course he won't. Yeah. He'll be straight off, and I don't blame him. I really wouldn't blame him either if he did.
No, I totally agree, 100%. I mean, that he wants to be ambitious, he wants to win trophies, sort of thing. He might not do it at Arsenal. That's the thing.
Of course, I mean,
Arsenal will not win the league. They're not going to win the league for years and years and years with this squad. No way. I just don't think you will. Sorry to say it, but it's one.
No, you're right. No, you're right. I agree with you totally. I can't see Arsenal winning the league again. Not for a long time. Not the way things are going. Not without massive changes. That's going to take a long time. Even Man City, when they got all that money, it took them 4 years to win the league, didn't it? Once they've got all the money. So it's going to be at the moment. If things don't change at Arsenal, we're going to get nowhere near it.
I agree. Totally agree. You're going to be like a stepping stone for bigger things, just like Newcastle sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? Like ASM come to Newcastle. I could see ASM go in January. I don't think you'll leave the summer, but I think you'll go in January. I can tell you that for now. And got Andrew, Arsenal are shite. Simple as living them down where they belong. Anyways, John, Celtic are shite. Yeah, all right. Andrew, let me tell you something, mate. We were better than you yesterday, right? We were better than you for the whole of that game. Let that sink in. You were lucky to win that yesterday. Right, and I got let's math debate. Hi, John, mate. If you give us your first name, then I'll call by your first name. Simon, so who's Smith and Shaka going to when you can do? We just
probably Man City. Probably Man City, I would say, or Chelsea. That's where they will end up going, yeah.
Top four clubs. Then to our way to bigger talents to stay with Yaz. When you come doing, don't you think he's on about Arsenal to get relegated?
Yeah, no, he's right. I'm not disagreeing. I think they are too good to stay with us if we go down, or even if we don't go down. If we're struggling in mid-table, not in Europe, they deserve better. Both of them two, because they're fantastic players, and that's the worry that we've got. Keeping on with them.
Exactly. Totally agree. That's from Simon. Now I've got Jules. When we met teams we should be able to get points from, but you don't have met the teams who is hard to beat, even the best in Europe. I agree with that one, Joss. Yeah. And Judy Hobson, who's my Judy? She's lovely, Judy, by the way. She's a bit of a character sort of thing, but I do love Judy a bit. Judy will be okay. Can't remember if it was Lee Judges or Troops or Robbie, but one of them said it's important to learn the trade in the lower leagues. So when you make mistakes, they're not front-page news. And that's from Judy. I think he's right.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, when you've got less pressure at a smaller club, you can make mistakes and get away with it and learn. But when you're at a big club, you make mistakes and you're not going to get away with it because you're in the spotlight, aren't you? And unfortunately, that's what's happening with Arteta. I do feel a bit sorry for him, but ultimately, it's costing our club, so he's got to go because it's making life difficult for us as Arsenal fans. But I like him as a guy. I think he's a nice guy, and I feel a bit sorry for him because he's out of his depth, and that's not his fault.
I agree. And here's the pressure must be immense. That's from Judy. And so clubs who lose to Man City or to Chelsea, but the manner of defeat shows a lot. Chelsea held to 1-1, a man doing at half-time to Liverpool. Great effort by Chelsea, by the way, in the second half. Brilliant effort. That shows a lot about Chelsea. I think that is why, for me, I think they're going to win the league. Even though United got Ronaldo and Cavani as well. My God, I think whoever finishes off Chelsea Football Club is going to win the league.
Yeah,
which gets bad, and we get Arteta would not surprise us at all. I mean, talking about Arteta,
you can have him. I'll drive him there. It's fine.
We're not going to give it a fee then. And then we've got Julian is in the house. Got another come by the way. You give Ashley ideas, And I think we can forget the clubs like Man U and Arsenal aren't just clubs with their brand. That's a massive responsibility to lead them to a respectable finish, let alone so far away. I've got a Chelsea fan, Ryan. That Qatar Arsenal takeover is BS. Kroenke said he won't sell no less than $3 billion. I don't think it's going to sell the club, you know.
No, it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like it, unfortunately. I'd like him to sell it to someone who's going to run it properly. You know, looking at Chelsea, you know, the way Abramovich has run Chelsea. Yeah, he's got the managers, but look what they've won. Look how they've, you know, they're now won the Champions League twice and stuff like that. You know, and that's down to good ownership, isn't it? Ownership. The same with Man City, owners that want the club to be successful, and that's what we need, because otherwise we're never going to come again. And unfortunately, I agree. Kroenke's don't look like they're going to sell, which is a shame, because they're in the club for the wrong reasons. And you know, and as a fan, that's the worst thing, isn't it? But you never know if he gets a big enough offer. If some of these Qataris come in and say, "Yeah, we'll pay $3 billion," crack on, mate, do it. It'd be great. If we're allowed it, because you're not allowed to be taken over, are you? Maybe the Premier League will stop us being taken over, because they don't like Arsenal, do they? So they'll probably stop that happening anyway, won't they? They'll probably put something in place like they've done with you guys to stop it happening. Yeah,
and you know what it is, right? I mean, people are getting people now, and I've got to say it now on channel, right? I mean, all Newcastle fans, right, thinking that the Premier League is playing for our form this season. Knock on the head, Warriors. The Premier League don't pick the team. They don't pick the formation. They don't pick the tactics, right? They don't pick the first 11, right? The Premier League is a different kettle of fish, yeah. Okay, I mean, they messed up. They look after the top 6, yeah. But it's Steve Bruce. Steve Bruce picks a team, right? And the football's being served up. It's dire. It's awful. It's crap, yeah. He never changed the tactics, yeah. 5-3-2 all the time, yeah. And some of the players are not good enough. So, like I said, people, knock on your head. Don't get the Premier League into this year. The Premier League, I mean, we let them know our time will come. We will get a takeover. It's going to happen in time, and let's hope it's going to come fruition, sort of thing. So, yeah. But one of these days, we're going to have our dear. I got Lee as well. Arteta currently has a win ratio of 51.11% after 90 matches, while Steve Bruce has a win ratio of 30.4 after 92.
Really? Wow.
That's all I can say. Wow. You're awesome as well, Judith. And got some more comments coming through. I'm going to get to hope for cracking just a couple of hours on the Paul's channel. And I just don't feel sorry for Arsenal, but the fans can sympathise with. Fair dues, fair enough. I've got Judy as well. Honestly, also being 20th makes 0 sense. I know they crawl back when the Easter fixtures hit, but yeah, it seems they'll be fighting for 17-14 for us. I think also be.
At the moment, it seems like that. I can't see anything else at this moment in time. But there's still time for things to change, so we'll see.
Aye, definitely. And would you take Eddie Howe at Arsenal? It's a hard one.
It is. I mean, would he do a lot better than Arteta? I think we need somebody with more experience than Eddie Howe. He's only really had success at Bournemouth, and in the end, he got them relegated. He went to Burnley. It didn't work out. I'm not sure whether he'd be. I mean, I think he's a good coach, but then Arteta's probably a good coach. But I don't know. I'm not sure about Eddie Howe, actually. I think we can do better. I think we need to do better.
They need to do better, because you're a big club. I mean, Antonio Conte would be brilliant if you give him the money.
Yeah, Conte would be brilliant. Yeah.
Oh, would it just? My opinion is, I just don't think it's going to happen, because he wants money. He wants money to spend, and he wants 12 million a season at your club. He was on 11 million into Milan, and the same at Chelsea. So he's not going to come cheap. I'm telling you. I got Ryan here. Can wait till Amazon documents are shot 2 weeks.
I don't want to watch it at the moment. I won't be watching it if things don't change, because it's going to be horrible to see, isn't it? the kind of breakdown at the club behind the scenes. And I mean, I suppose in a way it'd be quite interesting to see what has been going on the last few weeks, because there seems to have been one problem after another, and how much of that's going to get shown in the documentary, I don't know, but it could be interesting viewing, as you say. It might well be. I'm not sure too many Arsenal fans are going to be wanting to watch it though.
I agree. I'll tell you what, can you imagine us having Amazon at Newcastle United? Actually not have it whatsoever.
That would be good. That would be good though, wouldn't it? That'd be good TV as well, wouldn't it?
That'd be amazing. What I'm saying, it ain't gonna happen. I just can't see it happening, but it's a shame. I've got Ben as well. Gone the days that when us competing for Champions League football, that Kroenke has turned your club into a mid-table side.
Yeah, they have.
Well, I doubt. Spent the most money on finding yourself bottom of the league. Just Arsenal things, man. £130 million you spent, and you're bottom of the table.
Yeah, but what I mean, sometimes I think it's easy to forget. I mean, look at the wages Man United have just spent out on Varane and on Ronaldo. That's more than we've spent. We've had transfer fees on top. So we spent the most on transfer fees. We've not spent the most this transfer window. I think we need to get that into perspective. But we spent too much to be bottom of the league, that's for sure. Much too much.
Not good. Fair enough. I've got Arteta's problem, but he isn't the problem in this.
Yeah, isn't he? No, I agree with that. Yeah, he is a problem that needs to be sorted out, but he isn't the only problem. He's certainly not the biggest problem. That's true.
And that's down to people like Edu and Vinay as well. And
the owners after players. There's lots of problems. The tea lady, she's all right. Maybe keep her, but sack everybody else.
And where's Edu, by the way? Is he off jet setting sort of thing somewhere in
he seems to be. Hopefully he'll come back from his holidays with a few presents for us tomorrow. Who knows? But we'll see. A few souvenirs from his holidays abroad, maybe. Let's have a look.
Exactly. I got Gonki just like Iglesias, so fleece the fans of the club. No ambition, only cares about the dollar signs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I got SND Forson tonight. Yes, there is 8 o'clock tonight. You've got to join us in that. So we'll be on 8 o'clock. And the Arteta goes in my Osbear's coaching staff as well. That means well, new staff roster, not just a manager. I don't think someone like Conte will want an Arteta appointment or appointed defensive coach.
No, he certainly wouldn't. Not if he's got any sense, he wouldn't. Definitely not. We wouldn't want any of Arteta's coaching staff. Get rid of them all.
I would as well. Get rid of a lot of them. It's like Newcastle. It's like, get rid of a lot of them. Get rid of the back five. Get rid. The midfield can go as well. I only keep 5 or 6 players in Newcastle United. The rest of them, they just go and screw themselves. Honestly, they're not good enough. No. And listen, American orders don't understand how game works.
Yeah, that's probably true. That is probably true. Yeah. I mean, Man, you haven't done so bad under the Glazers, really, have they? They've won a lot of league titles and stuff in the early days, and so I don't know. But our owners certainly haven't got a clue what they're doing, that's for sure.
Sure. We'll wrap up these comments as well quickly as can and talk about TV channels in a minute. Also having the same problems with every single match after Wenger. The problem came from those at the top of the club. Arsenal needs to be sold and see the old Arsenal back. So it's basically saying bring back Adams, Keown, and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, we need something. We definitely need people who understand what Arsenal means. That's what we need. And unfortunately, at the moment, we haven't got anybody who seems to understand what it means, or not enough people in the main positions that they need to be in. That's the problem. Yeah,
totally agree. And this is an interesting one, man. You Herbert, thank you to me, sure guy, and then just subscribe to channel if you haven't done so. We're not going to win the league. We might have bought Ronnie, but we're at DM, which we badly need, by the way. We're not going to be challenging. Guess what? CR7 sells shirts, DM won't, but fixes our team instantly.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. A lot of clubs do that, don't they? I mean, Man United have done it a lot over the years, haven't they? They got Ibrahimovic for one season, didn't they? He would have sold a lot of shirts as well. Was he what they needed? Probably not. You know, they got Cavani, maybe similar. I mean, he's quite a good player, Cavani, to be fair. But again, it's not what Man United needed, was it, to challenge for the league? And maybe they've done the same again with Ronaldo. He's going to, you know, he'll be paying, his wages will get paid for on merchandise around the world, won't it? Probably, I would imagine. So it's good business, maybe. But is it what Man United need? They're going to be a better team with Ronaldo in it. Let's be honest. You know, they're not a bad team already. Really, they're going to be a lot better, aren't they, with him playing? So let's see.
And guess who we got next on Saturday week?
I know. Yeah, I know. The first game. That's a guaranteed 3 points for Newcastle, isn't it?
Oh yes. Not. Excuse me. Not gonna. I've got to do this question for you, Rich. I know people tend to focus on FTV over the top theatrics, but on the ground level, what's moral like with the fans? How are the people in the stadium copying with the club's direction?
I mean, it seems to be quite split, actually. There seems to be a lot of fans that are still supporting Arteta and maybe what he's trying to do. I'm not quite sure what that is personally. And there's, you know, a growing number now that are maybe at the same point as thinking that we need a change. And I think it's been quite split. And I think it's getting to the point now where more and more people are understanding that Arteta isn't doing what we hoped he was going to do. And I mean, morale's not great, actually. You know, Arsenal fans have always been a little bit, probably like most fans, I guess, have always been a little bit over the top with everything. You know, when we lose, it's the end of the world and everybody should be sacked. And when we win, you know, we're fantastic and everybody's great. And it's a bit like that. And obviously at the minute, because we're losing game after game, it's a difficult time. And I don't think that overall the fan base is very unhappy, obviously, with the whole situation, but not unhappy enough to do enough about it. I mean, we need to get the owners out. The way to get the owners out is to boycott games, is to protest and do all those sort of things. And they don't seem to be bothered too much. You know, people are still, I know I've got a new shirt on, by the way, but people are still buying the merchandise. They're still, doing that kind of stuff, buying tickets, going to the games, and that's not really going to help, is it? If you want owners out, you've got to say, right, we want the owners out. Look what Blackpool did. I know they have a smaller club and stuff, but they didn't go to games, and their owners ended up selling up and going. And if you want it to happen, fans have got all the power and never use it. Not in the right way most of the time. And, AFTV get a lot of criticism. I must admit, I don't really like the message that they tend to put across. Is quite negative to Arsenal fans. It gives Arsenal fans a negative reputation. But ultimately, it's how fans feel a lot of the time. When you speak to anybody straight after a game, you're never going to get a calm response when you've just lost, are you? Everyone's upset and angry when you've just seen your team lose. You've travelled halfway around the country. You spent a lot of money and the team have lost. You're not going to be happy, are you? And AFTV made a lot of got their channel growing on the back of that, didn't they? Really, we lost a lot of games in that time. We have lost a lot of games. If we were winning, if they'd been around in 2004 when we were unbeaten, I'm pretty sure that the videos wouldn't have been as much fun to watch, would they? Because if you're winning every week, it's just it's like Man City. I don't know if Man City have got a channel like that. They probably have, but it must be really boring to watch when they're winning 5-0 every week. What are you gonna talk about after the game? Oh yeah, we were brilliant again. Oh well, that's good, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? It's nothing to talk about, is it? At least at Arsenal, Newcastle, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about because we've got a lot of problems and a lot of things to moan about, and that's what makes better viewing, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Absolutely. I mean, it's fun. I mean, like I said, AFTV. I mean, there's a guy called Yarman against Chelsea when he got beat by 2-0. Yarman came on and he actually put Robbie in this place. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
he was absolutely magnificent, honestly, and he is absolutely spot on what he said to him. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's honest, but we still miss Claude, by the way. I mean, God rest his soul. Yeah, you got.
That's a shame. Yeah, it is. I mean, I think they've changed about actually. AFTV with what they're doing. They've got different people now. Obviously, obviously Claude is no longer with us as we know, and a few other people have left the channel for one reason or another as well. And it's slightly different now this season, maybe than it was. Different people are involved and stuff like that. So maybe they're going to try go in a different direction a little bit, which would be nice. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I tend not to worry. Arsenal Fan TV, AFTV, are always put forward as the voice of Arsenal fans, and they're not really. They're a voice of those particular fans, which is fair enough, but they don't represent all Arsenal fans in the way that they're portrayed. They go every time there's a breaking story at Arsenal, Sky News or BBC, whatever, it will get Robbie on, won't they, to give an Arsenal opinion, and which is fair enough. He's entitled to an opinion like anybody else, but he doesn't represent all Arsenal fans just because he runs a successful channel. He's got a right to have a say, but so have millions of other Arsenal fans. Have got just as much right to have a say in matters as well. And it seems like they only the TV channels only seem interested in getting that one opinion from somebody from his channel, which is not really fair, is it? I don't think. You see other clubs, they seem to have a mixture of people that will get asked their opinion. But with Arsenal, it's literally just Robbie or one of Robbie's mates that come on, and that's it. You don't hear from any other Arsenal fans because they don't want to know. They're only interested in them. And it kind of shows, and someone's put a comment there about what a good job he's done. I mean, he's done a good job for his channel, there's no doubt about it. And he's done a good job to get the name out there because, like I said, everybody now, fans of every club, talks about AFTV, don't they, constantly? They do. And he's created that himself. So he's done a great job. Unfortunately, I don't think he's done himself too many favours within the Arsenal fan base with some of the stuff that he's done. Unfortunately for him, I don't think it's, for his business, it's brilliant. He's done a great, you've got to hold your hands up to him. Fantastic. I mean, he was one of the first sort of fan channels, wasn't he, in the first place when he first started? There wasn't many out there. And he was the innovator, really, of that. And he has done a really good job. But unfortunately, for Arsenal fans, most Arsenal fans don't really appreciate what he's done. Everybody else does. I think every other fan of every other club probably thinks it's the greatest thing on YouTube. And I can understand why, because you can laugh at Arsenal, can't you? Which you never used to be able to, did you? Arsenal always did things in the right way. We're always traditionally a really great club. And now it's it's easy to make fun of Arsenal, and that's partly because of what AFTV have done over the last 10 years, as well as what's gone on the pitch as well. Of course, we've made it easy for people to laugh at us when we're bottom of the table. You know what I mean? But that's what's happened, unfortunately. And AFTV will always be, with Arsenal fans, always going to be associated with that decline in the club, and also the way that Arsenal fans are now, and Arsenal are viewed on as a banter club, aren't they? On the back of that, really, which is another thing that Robbie's got to take responsibility for. I mean, unfortunately, that's what's happened. But if we win in the league, I'm pretty sure no one will be interested in AFTV again, because they'll have nothing they'll have nothing to moan about, will they? None of us will. In fact, I don't know if Arsenal become good. I don't know where all the Arsenal channels are going to go. I mean, mine included. What we're gonna talk about if we're winning every week? It'd be boring, wouldn't it? At least it's exciting and fun, isn't it? At the minute, because we can come on and moan about stuff, and it's great. Imagine if Newcastle were in Kevin Keegan's era again. Winning games, winning 5-0 every week, beating Man United 5-0. What would you be moaning about? Nothing. It'd be great, wouldn't it?
This is it, absolutely. But I can still talk about the game. I can still talk about some of the players aren't good enough. I can still talk about things. What's happening in the game.
Well, yeah, you can, but it's not as much fun, is it, when you're winning? No, let's face it. Come on, let's be honest.
Exactly. Yeah, I know what you mean. Bless you. I've got another one for you as well. For manager, would you take Stefano Pioli? He's at Milan. He's a manager.
Yeah, I mean, again, someone who's got a little bit of experience, knows what they're doing. So that appeals to me. At the moment, and I agree with what Russ said there, pretty much at the moment, I'm almost at the point where I'll take pretty much anybody that's been a manager at top level before over Arteta. Anybody pretty much within certain reasons. I mean, obviously, Steve Bruce's experience at the top level, but I'm not sure I'd want him. But yeah, I'd certainly look at pretty much anyone else.
Yeah. I'd take Pioli all day long at Newcastle. I think it's decent.
Certainly, yeah. Anybody would be better at the minute.
I would never understand how Shaka's playing for the Arsenal. That's number one.
Well, there's a few players at the moment that shouldn't be playing for the Arsenal ahead of Xhaka. I mean, he's not the worst player we've got, let's be honest. There's plenty more that I would get rid of before him. But yeah, he's another example, maybe not good enough to take us forward. I like Xhaka, and I think he's one of the best that we've got. But that kind of sums up where we are, because he's not really good enough for what we need to move on as a club, along with probably 7, 8, and 9 others, unfortunately, we're still stuck with, because we can't get rid of them. Because no one wants them, because they're not good enough. We are.
This is it. I totally agree. And you've got Aaron Ramsdale, was one of the craziest signings I think Arsenal's me in recent times. The fella has to relegate at every single club he's been at. Bournemouth, Sheffield United.
No, yeah, he has. Chesterfield, yeah, as well. I mean, he has. He looked a decent goalkeeper his first game against. Yeah, it was only against West Brom's under-23 side the other night, but he looked okay. I mean, we needed a backup goalkeeper, and he looks as though he's going to be an okay backup goalkeeper. He could end up being number one. So I don't mind that side, and we've spent a lot of money on him. So I'm assuming he's brought in to eventually become number one. And I thought he looks good with the ball at his feet. He made some good saves against West Brom the other night. So give him a chance. I think he might be okay. I'm quite looking forward to seeing how he gets on at Arsenal, because I think he could be a good signing for us, actually, in the end.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to read these comments like critics, so many critics I can. And I think Ramsdale do fine, because he's at good clubs as well. Where do you think Newcastle will finish? Do you reckon Bruce will get in the top 10? For me, we're going to get relegated this season. Top 10 is not really relevant. Let's be real about it, but we're going to get relegated this season. What do you think?
I don't think you'll get relegated. I think there's far worse teams in the Premier League than Newcastle. I think anywhere between sort of 12th and 15th, somewhere around there, I think that you'll probably finish. Yeah, happy birthday to Russ as well, actually. I know it's his birthday as well, which is nice. 2 of years with your birthday today, so that's good. But yeah, I think maybe between 11th, 12th and 15th, around about there, I think Newcastle will finish. I think you'll be safe. I think you will.
I hope you're correct. And I don't feel positive this season. I really, really don't. Because if you lose Wilson, ASM and Willock, who's going to get us the goals? I just don't.
Well, yeah, that's a problem, definitely. But it was the same problem last season, though, wasn't it? And in the end, you managed to finish quite high up the league, didn't you? You finished 12th or something last year, was it? 11th, 12th?
Well, lucky, very lucky.
Yeah, maybe you was. You had a decent finish, won a few games at the end, like we did. We won a few games to lift us up a bit higher than we perhaps should have been. But I think Willock's going to be a big sign for you. I think he'll make a big difference, and I think that might be what does keep you up again, maybe. Let's
hope so. If he does that, or anyone keeps us up, cool. Then get rid of Boost, rip up the team, start the whole thing again. And I've got Manu Herbert as well. Also, what happened to ASM? He's on a long deal. But top 6 club will come from. They will do. I think he'll be off in January. If he's still in the bottom 3 or near the fight relegation, he'll be off this time. And I just cannot see him stay versatile whatsoever, sort of thing. But we've got to wait and see what happens on that. Yeah, I seen your tweet about you and Lee Judges and Pippa as well. What was that all about, Rich?
Yeah, I mean, it was Saturday. AFTV put out a tweet trying to pretend that the Arsenal fans had been celebrating a Man City goal. In actual fact, they weren't. We were just singing about our own players, kind of thing. And I just thought that it was done on purpose to create a negative opinion of Arsenal fans on Twitter. And So I just made a point about it and got a bit of stick. I mean, I know Lee Judges. He's been on my channel. He's a good lad, and we joked about it afterwards. I sort of apologised to Pippa because it's not really her fault. She was at the game, and the people that posted it weren't at the game. It was just stuff that they'd seen on the media and stuff. But I just don't like the negative stuff that comes from AFTV. And you've just lost 5-0, and you want Arsenal fans to be trying to stay together really, rather than trying to divide. And I felt that was maybe used to divide Arsenal fans, and whether it was done on purpose or not, I'm not sure. But it just annoyed me, and I got involved in Twitter things, which maybe sometimes you shouldn't do, really, should you? But I was just upset and annoyed, and but it's fine. I'll sort it out with him now. It's fine. So we're all friends again.
When you see Lee Judges next time, could you get him come on the channel, please? Yeah, talk to him about Arsenal.
I'll ask him to come on. I mean, I'm sure he will, because he loves all this kind of stuff. I'm sure he'd love to come on. I'm actually going on his channel soon as well, so I'll have a word with him and see if I can get him to come on for you. I'm sure he will.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. I appreciate that. If you can, that'd be brilliant. I thought Robbie has done a decent job at Arsenal, AFTV, whether you love or hate the channel.
As we said, he has done a great job for himself and his business, definitely, yeah.
I've got Judith in the house in a minute, and after his comment, would it take Steve Bruce Arsenal? You're not too sure. Talk Sports reckons Bruce is the greatest of all time. Well,
he's definitely the greatest something, but I'm not sure if he's the greatest manager. But anyway,
definitely not. I got Judith as well. It's John's birthday. I've worn my bunny ears and baked a cake. Well, I'll make you a cup of tea for you. Thank you very much, Judy. Judy, we all love you, and she is brilliant. I'd love to get on my channel one day. Judy, will come on my channel? You come on, pet. I was fancying chanting AFTV Gammy Club. I heard that last season. Like, how's that going to change the result? I don't get it. I really don't get that.
Well, it's not going to change the result, is it? But it's just one more thing that's negative that we can maybe not have at the club. Maybe, I just feel the negativity is and the divisions that it's caused have actually been a bad thing overall for the fan base. Maybe, so I can understand why Arsenal fans don't necessarily want them at the club, but they don't need to be at the games. They can still broadcast from studios and stuff like they do anyway. So I'm sure they'll keep going. Whether they'll still be at the ground for much longer, I'm not sure, because I think there's a lot of animosity towards them now. And after what happened yesterday on Saturday with that tweet they put out, I can see it being quite difficult for them at the ground, maybe. So we'll see what happens. But I'm sure they'll still exist as a channel. I'm sure they will, because they're a massive channel, aren't they? They are the biggest one on YouTube, aren't they? The biggest, probably, the fan channel out there by a mile. So they're not going to just jack in and give up, are they? They're going to keep going in one form or another. Just will it still be outside the grounds going forward? I'm not sure. They might have to change the way they do it, perhaps, but we'll see what happens. I'm sure there's definitely an audience for them. You can tell by the comments in here. Fans of other clubs love them, and you can understand why. But as an Arsenal fan, it does kind of annoy me sometimes. The way that they portray Arsenal fans, which I don't like, and many Arsenal fans don't, and that's the problem, I suppose. But everybody else loves them, clearly. So that's which is fair enough.
Yeah, definitely. And I won't keep you too long. I know you're a busy guy. I mean, I've got Simon here. I wish Huddersfield was one of my God. It's up and doing like a yo-yo club. Like with Sheffield United, we were singing we was going down with a five in the bank. And then at the end of the game, same fans. Good win against Sheffield United, by the way. I don't know how you got on this weekend, though, but singing we are going up. That's from Simon. Rich is level-headed. Bring him on again. He's going to be a regular. Let's be real about it. He's definitely a regular. And Ben says, same at any club, the media tag certain people to have a say on their clubs. Always seems to be the same fella up here, even though I have no doubt he's a decent person who has the club at the heart.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
Rich, most of Twitter and YouTube is filled with under 20 fans who have grown up in this kind of environment.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Yeah, it is the way it is, unfortunately. I mean, back in my day, there was no such thing as social media. And if we wanted to moan, we had to go down a pub and moan to our mates. Whereas now you can just put a tweet out and, get, a million responses to it and get upset a load of people. So, when you was in the pub in the old days, you used to have a moan to your mates about how crap you were, and it was fine. It lasted 5 minutes and it was all done. Whereas now you got Twitter things go on for weeks, don't they? But anyway, it's just the way it is now, isn't it, I suppose? It is.
It's a 21st century sort of thing, but well, doing this channel in 20 years' time, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
Exactly.
You'll be a millionaire by then, John. You'll be a millionaire off YouTube. Don't worry about that.
Well, if I get 1K, I'm someone on. I've got 208, 207 to go.
How many
have you got on your thing?
Well, I'm about 450 away or so, 430 odd. So I've got a way to go yet, but we'll get there in the end, I'm sure.
It's all about patience at the end of the day. I'd rather have a small account on my YouTube rather than the big accounts like AFTV,
Well,
League Gunner, League Judges,
to
down
be honest, John, to be honest, John, what I want to do, and I know you're the same. I just like making content that I enjoy myself, and if other people want to watch it and want to subscribe, fantastic, it's great. And obviously, you know, it'd be great to get to 1,000. Of course, that's what the aim is. But I want to keep doing stuff I enjoy doing, you know, and chatting to people that I like chatting to, and you know, that's what it's about for me. And you know, I know some people are constantly chasing to become bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, which is great. You all want to grow, but stick to what you like doing, and I'm sure eventually it will happen. Like you said, patience is what's needed, isn't it? You're not going to get to 1,000 in, you know, not unless you're a big name. Some of those channels get 1,000 subscribers in a couple of weeks because that people know who they are. But when you're starting from scratch, it's hard work if you want to become a decent sized channel. But I just want to enjoy it. I want to enjoy chatting to people and talking about football, which is what we all love. And you know, if people like it and want to watch and want to subscribe, even better. And hopefully we'll both get to 1,000 very soon this season with a bit of luck. Absolutely, my guy. Absolutely. It's all about patience. And if it takes till Christmas to get 1,000, that'd be fantastic. And it'd be amazing. Same for you as well. So I got one of my favourites on here, Judy. Well, if that's any consolation, Rich, I'm happy to hear what the regulars fans thinks too. I take my postman over Steve Boost. That's how much I want Boost out. That's from Carl James. Carl, do subscribe me. Ramsey can do a decent job. I'd also with an experienced defence. Not with that current defence, but yeah, I think he could do a better defence. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, no chance. He'll not do it. I think Newcastle will come last season and push to stay up on going 16. That keeps Boost in a job anyway. I'd rather see Burnley, Brighton, and Norwich get relegated. I don't think Brighton will go down. I think Burnley will be fine now. They got that fighting spirit. Norwich will be fine, but if Burnley's going to stay up, they need to win their home games. They haven't won their home games since January, I believe. So that's not good. Replacing Steve, we'll have a decent season. We'll have some great players for us as well. I don't ever have to pick on Norwich. Bless you. It's a shame. No, but, you know, they're just a yo-yo club, aren't they? They come up and go down, come up and go down. So it's just the way they are, unfortunately. I quite like Norwich, actually. I'm glad they're back in the Premier League. Yeah, and the fact is as well, at the end of the day, right, I mean, you know, it's good to see Norwich up there anyway, sort of thing. They're too good for the Championship, not great for the Premier League. I think, in a way, I think Norwich could surprise us all. You just never know. I mean, Farker might surprise us all, but will he do that? He's brought a lot of players in for the club in the summer, sort of thing, like, you know, and if he can fit into it, the way style of play, I think he'd be okay. I think it's a good man. I'd like Norwich to stay up. I'm just not sure if they're quite good enough. That's all. I just don't think they're quite good enough, as we've seen at the start of the season, maybe. But it's a 6-pointer against us next game, innit, after the international breaks. That'd be interesting. Who comes out on top there? Be a big game, that one. Huge. I've flattered his comments quickly, so I've got about 10 more left. Rangers beat Celtic yesterday. But that was a great person yesterday, John. Carl, that made us sick. But Celtic were the better team for the whole of the 90 minutes, by the way. If one of those chances had been tapped to Edouard and Kyogo as well, he had 2 good chances there, then would have won the game. And John, what do you think of Newcastle? What do you think will Newcastle take or will it happen? Swear, want to see Mbappe as a Maggie. Anyway, if I'm going to get a manager in sort of thing, there's 3 choices. I say Conte, I will say Simeone, right? And I do like De Zerbi as well. He used to be at Sassuolo, it's at Shakhtar Donetsk. But for me, and I'll go Mancini all day long. Roberto Mancini for me. Love him. Yeah, that is a good shout. But I wouldn't mind him at Arsenal, actually. Yeah, good coach, very good coach. Brilliant, and he works hard. 2 sessions a day, and he make you work. Yeah, no, brilliant. Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind him either. Yeah, it's a good shout out. And then got Carl AFTV will always have an audience from a neutral's perspective, but if I was an Arsenal fan, they would get on me tits. Exactly, that's exactly the point. Exactly that. Yeah. And yeah, just like I said, I got Huddersfield 1-4 against Reading. Wow, 4th place at the minute. Postseason starting well. Smash the likes up as well, folks. That's on there. Judith, thanks very much, old Judy. Forceman tonight, I'll be up for that. Sub to Gunas, Rich too. Thanks so much for that, Jay. Thank you very much. Cheers, Judy. Geordie, hope you're okay. Thanks so much for that, Geordie. Got to fly through this. If I don't read, I do apologise. So, last question from Judy. Who's our predictions to win the league this season? Who are you going for this season? I think it's going to be between Chelsea and Man City. I think. I'm going to go Chelsea. I think they've had they've got the player they needed in Lukaku. They've got a great manager in Tuchel. And I think they'll build on the Champions League. I'm going to go Chelsea, but I think it's going to be quite close between them two, actually. Yeah, I think so. Absolutely agree. Chelsea, Man U for me. Man City. Never have Man City.
But it's going to be those three, any of those three. But whoever finishes above Chelsea is going to win the league. Yeah. I've got some people are saying Watford the guy do, but they have argued one of the best wingers in the league, and his name is Sarr.
He's good actually. Sarr, great player.
Quick, big lad. He's quick. Battle for relegation, Arsenal Norwich.
It is, yeah. No, you're right. It's 6 point of that game. It's going to be a bit massive game. It's the biggest game of that weekend after the international break. That.
Yeah, man, you're right. And plus, I done with Traore yesterday. I thought he was decent yesterday, first half.
I think he's a good player, isn't he? He maybe doesn't quite have the final ball, does he? He don't score enough goals, but he's a fantastic player. I'd have him at Arsenal all day long, and I agree. You think? Oh no, Pepe's better than Traore. I don't think he is. I think Traore is better than Pepe. I must admit. I think ASM's better than Pepe as well. But there you go.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, Pepe does score goals, man, by the way, but he'll get there. He'll get there. Yeah. And I've got it's Pepe and Traore we just said. You have a Bergkamp shirt, Benny Rich. Why was ESR Smith Rowe given number 10 when he hasn't done absolutely nothing in football? Dennis is one of my favourite sparlers of mine.
Oh, Dennis Bergkamp's different level. I mean, I think they've given it to ASM because he's a young player. He signed a new contract, and it's just maybe a big boost for him, isn't it? And hopefully it might make him want to aspire to players like Dennis Bergkamp, who I agree. I mean, Bergkamp's the greatest player I've ever seen. Him and Thierry Henry, I suppose, difficult to choose between them, but maybe Dennis just about shades it perhaps because he was just such a clever player. That goal obviously scored at St James's as well. Unbelievable. So, yeah. But no, I mean, hopefully ESR can develop and that this might be what he's needed, get that famous shirt and who knows. Maybe it can give him the boost he needs to really push on in his career. Let's hope so, because he certainly he's got potential at the moment. It is only potential. Let's not get carried away. But I think he can become a really good player, ESR, and I'm sure he'll do the number 10 shirt justice. Actually, maybe not the same justice Dennis did. I don't think anyone can, but I'm sure he'll do it. Like you got your number 9 shirt, haven't you? With from Shearer, and now you've got Callum Wilson. He's going to do a good job, Callum Wilson, in the number 9 shirt. He's not going to be Shearer, is he? But he'll be decent. He's been decent already, hasn't he? He scores a lot of goals. So,
well, like I said, if Wilson stays fit, plays 38 games our season, he'll be absolutely fine. But he's injury prone. That's the thing. I mean,
yeah, he is. He is a little bit, but hopefully he can stay fit. And he's in my fantasy team, so I hope he does keep scoring goals because I'll be quite happy.
Yeah, Albie does. I mean, you should have scored against Villa, by the way.
Yeah, but should have done.
Just got a couple more comments very, very quickly. If Ole wins the league over Pep Guardiola, he just does a knighthood. That's from Herbert. Hey, man, your Herbert give over. ESL's fantastic player. Just needs a bit more time. Yeah, he does. And does the whole that's a good one there. That's fair enough. Player also should have been the boost, Rich. I don't care why these youngsters get such ironic numbers without earning it. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, Saka's got number 7 and the ESR number 10. It's good for Arsenal, giving their young players that responsibility, maybe, and it's good for them. And I don't mind it at all. They do need to justify it, but they've been our best 2 players in 2021. They've been our best 2 players, so they maybe do deserve it at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just the last one here, and we have some great number 9s and Jackie, Supermac, Shearer, now Wilson. Yeah. Jackie's way before me time. Supermac was magnificent. Shearer.
Yeah, Supermac was good. Obviously, Supermac played for Arsenal as well. Great player he was, wasn't he? Fantastic finisher, great goal scorer. So brilliant player he was, yeah. And obviously Shearer as well. I mean, I don't like Alan Shearer particularly, but you can't argue with his goal scoring record. Just fantastic. Brilliant, wasn't he? So
wasn't he just? And I was going to say, listen, I'll let you go, right? I mean, so what needs to happen? I mean, you got Arsenal, you got Norwich on Saturday. Is it Saturday week? You got them. It's a Saturday week.
Yeah.
3 o'clock, and is it 3 o'clock kickoff or is it an early one?
Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock kickoff. We've got a couple of 3 o'clock kickoffs now. I think we're going to have a few more this season. Obviously, without being in Europe, I think we'd end up playing on a Saturday a bit more often on a 3 o'clock, which is nice. So yeah, it's 3 o'clock kickoff Saturday week. It's going to be. It's an important game for Arsenal more than anything. We have to win it, quite frankly. If we don't beat Norwich at home, then that's a danger. That's a worry because they've been poor defensively away from home in the Premier League. They've not had many wins in the last couple of seasons. They've been up, have they? So it would be an absolute disaster if we lose that game. And even if a draw, I don't think a draw is enough for us. We have to win, and we have to go out there and put a statement to say that yes. We've had a poor start, but we can bounce back. I mean, we beat West Brom 6-0, and that was their under-23 team essentially. But I think we're quite good when we play in teams that aren't at a decent level, and that's the sort of game that you'd expect us to win, but we have to win it. And Arteta's got to get it right that day. The players have got to be up for it, and we've got to get the result. But we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm sure Norwich will fancy their chances. Actually, if they've watched our first 3 games, they'll definitely fancy their chances of getting a result.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to come there and give it a right go. I mean, they're going to have good free forces behind them, sort of thing. So, excuse me, and they do play good football as well. So, and they're quite fast as well when it comes off. So,
yeah, it's not going to be easy. It's not an easy game. I don't get anyone says, people have, it's Arsenal home to Norwich. You put a 4-0 win, and I know we beat them 4-0 last time we played them at home when they got relegated, but things are different now. It's going to be a tough game, and I'll be happy with a 1-0 win as long as we get the result that we need. It doesn't matter really. You want us to play well, and it'd be nice to win 4-0, but let's be realistic. It's the 2 bottom teams in the league without a point between us, so it's going to be a scrap, and it's going to be a scrap and a battle, and we need to be up for it. And let's hope we can get the win, and that might be what we need. Sometimes you just need a win, don't you? And then it can kickstart you off, and maybe that's what we need against Norwich, and that could be the start of a good run. But I'm not confident at the moment. I've got to be honest. I'm not. The way we've been playing, I'm not confident at all. But it's another 2 weeks' time. We might have improved by then. We might buy some players tomorrow. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yes, definitely. Let's hope you do.
Well, it'd be nice if I'd say I'd rather have had a new manager, but anyway, we're probably not going to get one. So at least let's get some players or do something. Something needs to happen.
Absolutely. See what happens on that one. So strange things has happened, by the way. I got SmithShaka against St. Maximin. Should be a cracking game if he gets a bar to him. That'd be cool. I personally think that Smith runs Shaka, a young talent, just needs a bit of time, and they will be legendary players. Thanks so much for that, Geordie. Great stream. A big psychology boost for whoever wins that one. And also, he's a Norwich fan as well. Bless him. Crack stream, by the way. Good to hear people put fans' opinions. Thanks for that, Simon. So, listen, I'm going to wrap up on that one sort of thing. But before that, I mean, we got to play Man U on the Saturday week, but I just don't fancy beating that game sort of thing. We've got to face Ronaldo, and they have the big players back. And Wilson hobbled off as well, so hopefully he may start. We come from that injury as well. If he doesn't start, then we're going to get beat anyway, sort of thing. We need him starting. And I like to see Steve Bruce change formation. I like to see him play Mankrila at right back. I will see him play Jamal Lewis at left back, drop Richie, drop Murphy, or push him wide on right-hand side of midfield and make a tactical change. But he ain't going to do that because at the end of the day, he's just going to play this 5-3-2. He's still going to play Almiron in as well in the midfield. What does Ryan Fraser have to do to start a game? I just don't know. And he's just going to pick his favourites yet again. You pick your favourites and it doesn't work out, then I'm sorry, what's going to happen?
I mean, obviously, that's another tough game, isn't it, for Newcastle, away at Man United, Ronaldo's return. I mean, it's all going to be about Ronaldo, isn't it, that day, I suppose, the build-up to the day and everything, I guess. But maybe that's a sort of, sometimes, Man United might get distracted a little bit by that, maybe. And perhaps there's an opportunity for Newcastle to go there and get a result, possibly, because of all the hype around Ronaldo coming back. If that's everything's going to be about that, isn't it? All the fans are going to be just excited to see Ronaldo play, and maybe it's a time for Newcastle to be able to maybe slip under the radar a little bit and turn up and get something. You never know. Who knows? I mean, it doesn't look that likely when you look at it on paper, the two teams at the moment. But maybe that's a good opportunity to go there. It might be a good time to play Man United. Maybe, perhaps. Who knows? But I think Man United are. I don't think they're going to win the league. I agree with what Herbert said before. I don't think they'll win the league. I don't think they're quite strong enough this season. But it's going to be. I'm quite excited to see Ronaldo playing in the Premier League again, actually, because he's a fantastic player, isn't he? And it will be good to see at his age now, 34, 34, 35, how. Obviously, he's not used to playing in such a fast physical league, is he? He's been playing in, obviously, Spain before and Italy. So it'll be interesting to see how he adapts again now at his age to the Premier League. I'm quite interested to see how that works out because it's going to be interesting to see him. I'm sure he'll do well. He'll score goals. We know he will. But will he be as effective as he was before? Probably not now. He's what, 20 odd years older, isn't he? So. It's going to go against him a little bit, isn't it? But I'm sure he'll do well. It'd be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to seeing him play. Maybe not so much against Newcastle, and certainly not against us, because I'm sure he'll score a few against us again. But
Yeah.
It'd be cracking. It'd just be good to see how he gets on, won't it, this season? Actually, it'd be interesting. It'd be a good story for the season, isn't it? Actually, to see him back in England, back at Man U, and let's hope that he does well. I agree with it. I think he is. I think he's definitely the greatest ever. Ronaldo is. And if he proved himself in the Premier League for a second time, imagine if he comes into Man U and scored 30 goals this season or something like that. There'll be no doubt then, will there? Messi will never be able to compete with that, will he? I know he's got to France now, but if Ronaldo comes in back to the Premier League at 34 and, scores a bucket load of goals again, I mean, wow, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be absolutely amazing. Just shake the Premier League up, sort of thing as well. But let's hope that he does well, and for United fans out there as well, he'll do it. I think he'll do it. He could surprise a lot of people, but he's definitely going to start games. That's all he's made it clear. He's going to start games, and that's what he's going to do. And that's the case. That's bad news for Newcastle, by the way. And I think someone's going to be dropped. It could be Greenwood. It could even be. You never know. It could be. Who else could be dropped? Or Rashford if he does play, but. Ronaldo definitely play, probably play on the wing sort of thing, but you got to play Cavani there as well. But
maybe we'll see what happens. It's gonna be a good story for the season, isn't it? Just to see how he does. I'm sure he'll score a load of goals because he tends to do that anyway, doesn't he? I'm sure he will. But it's going to be a good story for the season. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I hope he does well because I think he's a great player. I think he's an inspiration. He's he's one of the he's probably the greatest footballer to ever play, isn't he? When you think about it, he's got everything, hasn't he? And let's hope he can have a good end to his career in the Premier League, which would be nice for him as well, wouldn't it?
Definitely. Listen, Rich, thanks so much for coming on, my guy. And it's been a fantastic blessing for you to come on at such short notice. I'm sorry I had to get you on there because, I know it's been a crisis at Arsenal sort of thing. I mean, to get that sort of thing, but it's just nice to come on a bank holiday as well to talk about Arsenal and the problems sort of thing. And all the viewers absolutely enjoyed it as well, I'm sure. But did you enjoy coming on?
Oh, always enjoyed speaking to you, John. You're a legend. I love your channel. I always watch what you do. Paul as well. I'll be watching the Four Horsemen later as well. That's always a great show. So it's always a pleasure chatting to you and coming on. And I know we've got a few problems like yourself, but they're still our club, aren't they? At the end of the day, we'll still be here. Whatever happens, good and bad, and it's just the way it is. And unfortunately, at the minute, it's not going too well. But things can only get better, can't they? When you're bottom of the league, we can only go up. So there you go. Let's hope that we do very soon.
Fingers crossed, my guy. Fingers crossed. And keep watching us. We watch yours as well. And hopefully we get to our target as well. And if you've got your own channel, sort of like we have, sort of thing, Richard, where do you find your only channel, mate?
Yeah, the channel it's on YouTube. It's over and over and over again. Obviously, it is mainly focused on Arsenal, but I do try a few other different things as well. The Arsenal women as well, actually, I do a bit of coverage of them. They're slightly more entertaining to watch than the men's team at the moment as well, which is a bonus. So they've got a game tomorrow night in the Champions League qualifier, so I'll be doing coverage of that as well. Obviously, there's an international break. The WSL starts actually this weekend, so Arsenal play Chelsea, so I'll be doing that game on Sunday as well. So if you do like women's football as well, and you like a bit of coverage of that, then I do that as well. And I do have a bit of a moan about Arsenal as well, obviously when we lose and stuff like that. So which is quite a lot at the minute. So over and over and over again. If you fancy coming over and checking it out, that would be great. But it's been great coming on, John, as always, and happy birthday as well, and to Russ as well, who was in the chat before.
Thank you very well. Thanks for that as well, my guy. Thanks so much for your endorsement. And, it's going to be a quiet one today for me, sort of until 8 o'clock tonight, no doubt. And then after that, straight to bed, working tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock. And also, you want to check on my channel as well. It's John Sinclair, NUFC. And I've got loads of subscribers as well, which I think is great. And hopefully, I should, do some more content as well. So, But listen, Richard, thanks for coming on again. And, it's been a pleasure. And, we must do it again.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, we definitely will. No doubt about that. I'm sure we will very soon. You'll have to come on my channel again as well. That'd be good.
Oh, definitely for your games as well, sort of thing. With Melvin, still got Melvin with you as well. Is Melvin still there?
Yeah, no, Melvin's still on. Yeah, Melvin's still around. He's always a good lad, Melvin. So he always adds good content to the show as well. So he's always around. It's good. Yeah, we'll get you back on, definitely.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that, my guy. And, can't wait and enjoy the evening. And thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, definitely. And yourself. Enjoy the rest of